Good afternoon, courtroom, to everyone. We'll get started as soon as courtroom two is ready for us. Ms. Bridgewater, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. We moved up to mm, March the 20th for the SAP reset day.
Very good, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Courtroom two, let me know when you're ready.
Are we gonna start with position 12?
Okay,
Yes.
and let me address everyone that's in courtroom two. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. If you do not have a private attorney, we're giving you the assistance of a public defender this afternoon if you choose to utilize their service. Good afternoon, Ms. Silverman. You have been charged in case 25 CR 001163C with 9 counts of cruelty to animals. It's my understanding that this is Ms. Silverman's first arrest. Good afternoon, Ms. McConkey.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. In this case, officers went to the defendant's residence, 208 Summit Place Drive in Sandy Springs, to execute a search warrant in reference to animal cruelty. During the search, officers did locate 9 dogs. They noted the residence was in deplorable conditions with trash and clothing stacked near the ceiling and little to no space to walk. There were multiple kennels with dogs in them that did not have access to food or water. Many of them had urine, and a few were stacked on top of each other. While there was dog food in the house, it was not accessible to the dogs that were in the kennels. There was also urine and dog feces all over the floor. A cruelty exam was given to all 9 canines at the Fulton County Animal Shelter, and all 9 dogs did exhibit signs of neglect. The state's recommendation for this defendant is a signature bond, that she have no pets or animals while on bond, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol as well, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. McLean?
No objection, Your Honor. I just got off the phone with her brother, who is a criminal defense attorney, I believe, in another state, and he was rushing to a hearing, but that would be great.
Okay, it'll be $1,000 signature bond through the jail on each count. Makes for a total of a $9,000 signature bond through the jail. No animals while out on bond. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond either. Good luck to you, Ms. Silverman.
Right, your brother
Who do we have next?
Number 1, Mr. Adams. Ma'am, you hold.
Good afternoon, Mr. Adams. You have been charged in case 25 CR 001157C with criminal trespass and loitering and prowling. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
2011 simple assault, 02 trespass dismissed.
You, Ms. McConkey?
Yes, Your Honor. And I did add a second count of criminal trespass, so he should have 2 counts of criminal trespass now, along with that loiter and prowl.
Ms. Bridgewater, do you have that, Ms. Bridgewater?
Wait a minute. I do not, but I will add it to the order.
Okay,
Yes,
very good.
I sent it a little bit later, so Mr. Allen let me know that he went ahead and added it. But
Okay, no problem.
Thank you, Ms. McConkey. You can proceed.
This incident happened at 756 People Street Southwest in Atlanta. The victim in this case is Miss Kamaya Harden. The defendant is accused of going to the victim's property on March 4th of 2025 and forcefully twisting her doorknob. When the victim returned home, the defendant looked in her car, walked away, and then came back and continued to twist that doorknob. The victim did provide video footage to officers where you can see the defendant doing this for about 30 minutes, where he's twisting her doorknob, pushing on it, trying to gain entry into her residence. On the 4th, officers told the defendant that he was not to return to that residence, and they did escort him off of the property. The defendant proceeded to come back to the location at about 3:20 a.m. He once again tried to gain entry into the victim's residence. Officers were, of course, called again. They arrived on scene and arrested the defendant. While he was being transported, he told officers that he would be back at that location again because there was someone there that he knows. Our office has spoken with Ms. Harden, who states that she's never seen the defendant before in her life. She states the first time she saw him was on Monday night, March 3rd, when he was walking down the sidewalk. She is obviously terrified. She hasn't had much sleep since this incident. She, of course, wants to stay away and no further contact. The state's recommendation for Mr. Adams is a $1,500 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, stay away from the incident location, a social worker visit, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. I know his last arrest was back in 2011, but we have some serious concerns about this victim's safety, particularly because he told police officers that he would be back for a 3rd time after being told not to return. I would ask the court to sound for the victim in this case, Ms. Harden.
If Ms. Harden is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. I'll need for you to unmute yourself, activate your camera, and I'll have to swear you in. Okay, is this Ms. Harden with KH?
Yes, this is me. I'm not prepared to make a video appearance. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine, Ms. Harden. I just want to make sure that I gave you the opportunity if you chose to. Thank you for being with us this afternoon.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good afternoon, Ms. Thomas.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I was able to speak with Mr. Adams. We would be requesting a signature bond. Mr. Adams is 61 years of age. He's been a lifelong Georgia resident. His family also resides in the state. He also has an adult daughter who's 38 years of age. I noted that on the warrant, that 619 Atwood Street, Mr. Adams expressed that that's his sister's residence in which he receives mail. He did express that he's been homeless for the past 5 years, and he usually resides with his sister from time to time. He's currently not employed. He did express that he doesn't have any disabilities or MH issues. He completed the 12th grade. When speaking with him about the allegations, he did express that he does understand that he can't go back to that residence and that he does not know Ms. Harden. He also expressed that this might have been some sort of mistake or confusion as to who resides at that residence on his behalf. But he does understand that he can't go back to that residence, Your Honor. Just given his lack of finances, his situation, I would be requesting a signature bond. He doesn't have any recent history, Your Honor, so I'm asking the court to take that into consideration as well.
Does he need assistance with housing, Ms. Thomas?
I did ask him if he would like some resources. He's interested in it, Your Honor, but like I stated, he also stays with the sister at the 619 Atwood Street, but he does not have a place of his own.
Okay, well, let's get him some assistance if he needs the assistance. It will be $1,000 signature bond through the jail on each charge, makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through the jail, a social worker visit to assist with housing, stay away from the People Street address, no further contact with Ms. Harden, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Mr. Adams, I'm going to allow you to get out, but if you go back to that address, I will not give you a signature bond next time. You understand me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so stay away from that People Street address, because if they catch you there again and you come back before me, it's going to be a different story. Okay? Good luck to you, Mr. Adams.
Thank you.
All right, position 3.
Good afternoon, Mr. Carter. You've been charged in case 25 CR 001165E with theft by taking. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
4th arrest. Last was 2015 for drugs, possession, and a firearm. 2011 DUI. That's it.
Yes, Miss Allen. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This is an incident from December the 19th of 2024. There's been a warrant outstanding. The Police report indicates at about 7 a.m. At the Shell Food Mart at 685 Holcomb Bridge Road. The victim in this case, Antonio Leos, rode his bike to the location, parked it outside, and went inside to have coffee. And moments later, the defendant was visibly on surveillance and viewed by the victim walk up, get on the bike, and pedal away on it. Surveillance footage was provided to police, and they were able to use facial recognition software to identify the defendant through his driver's license information. The victim did not obtain his bicycle back, Your Honor. We did leave a message with him today, but were unable to get in touch with him before court. We'd asked for the $780 cash bond. He came in with a $780 suggestion. We would ask for that to be a cash bond or a surety bond. Stay away from the location, no contact with the victim, Antonio Leos, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
Mr. Leos is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Mr. McLean, is this your case?
No, Your Honor.
This is my case, Your
Yes.
Honor.
Yes, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you. Your Honor, I'll be asking for a signature bond on Mr. Carter's behalf. Mr. Carter doesn't have any history of any thefts, and I believe the pretrial stated that his last arrest was in 2015. Mr. Carter is 39 years of age. He's been a long-term Georgia resident. He's been residing in the state for the past 25 years. His family also resides here. He's a father of a daughter who's 7 years of age. Mr. Carter is also employed. He's working as a cook at the Ted's Montana Grill in Alpharetta, where he's been working for the past 4 months. Mr. Carter also obtained his GED and indicated that he doesn't have any medical, mental, or MH or disability issues, Your Honor. Mr. Carter is requesting a signature bond, but if he's not eligible for a signature bond, we would be asking for a bond no more than $500 surety.
Okay, it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. Stay away from the Shell on Holcomb Bridge Road. No further contact with Mr. Leos. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Carter.
Thank you.
Position 4.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chambers. You've been charged in case 25 CR 001158F with operating without lights as required by law, driving while your license was suspended or revoked, possession of an open alcohol container, and willful obstruction of law enforcement officers. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
11. You got an open DUI, City of Atlanta. Open DUI in DeKalb County. 2018 probation. 2018 sale of marijuana conviction. 2017 grand theft, fleeing an officer burglary conviction. He's a resident of Florida.
Thank you. Ms. McConkey?
Yes, Your Honor. Officers observed a gray Kia Forte on the way with its headlights turned off. Since it was nighttime and it was also raining, they conducted a traffic stop. When they ran the defendant's license, it came back as suspended. So officers told the defendant to step out of the vehicle as he was under arrest. They asked him to do this at least 5 times, and he refused to do so and became argumentative. Officers tried to physically remove him from the vehicle, and he resisted by tensing his arms and pulling away. After some time, officers were able to remove him from the vehicle and detain him. However, due to his active resistance, the officer sustained several scratches, and the defendant sustained a scratch on his arm. The defendant continued to resist even after being placed in the patrol vehicle by stiffening his legs against the patrol vehicle door to prevent it from closing. Upon conducting an inventory of the vehicle, officers found an open bottle of Jack Daniels in the center console. The state's recommendation for Mr. Chambers is a $2,000 surety bond, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, no driving without a valid license.
Okay, before I move on, let me just address some people that we have here on this video. This is a court proceeding, ladies and gentlemen. I am happy to have you here. if you're here on video. But Ms. Johnson, you need to get out of bed and present yourself as if you're actually in court with me. Mr. Tony Zayas, you need to stop moving around and present yourself again as if you are actually in a court proceeding, which you are. Okay, so I'm happy to have you here, but you're distracting, moving around. You're distracting, being in the bed. So if you're going to move around or something of that nature, go off camera for me until your matter is before me. Thank you. I apologize. Ms. Thomas, is this your case?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Your Honor, Mr. Chambers is 27 years of age. He's been in Georgia for the past 4 months. He expressed that he's been living with friends. He also has a father that resides here as well. He completed the 10th grade. Mr. Chambers expressed that he is gainfully employed, but he works at the McKenzie Auto Detail and he does some side jobs, but he's not making a ton of money. I believe he's just trying to get on his feet. He does state that he works 4 days out of the week and would like to be released on the signature bond so that he does not miss work. He hasn't been able to get in contact with any family to help him make any type of bond. So if he's eligible for a signature bond, we would be asking for a signature bond or a bond amount no more than $2,000, Your Honor.
Okay, for the operating without lights, a $250 good bond. For the driving with a suspended license, a $1,000 good bond. For the open container, a $250 good bond. For the obstruction, a $500 good bond. Makes for a total of a $2,000 good bond. No driving without a valid license. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr.
Thank
Chambers.
you. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Position 8. Oh, went too long. So we're gonna come back.
I'm sorry. Good afternoon, sir. You have been charged in case 25 CR 001166J with 2 counts of criminal trespass, damage to property, and disorderly conduct. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
What's this name?
MCELHA.
Oh, okay. McCahan. Okay. Second arrest. Got to open trespass. 24 CR 005223J. You gave him SOB jail for that. No further violent contact. That was a $2,000 bond, signature bond. That's all.
Thank you. Ms. Allen?
Your Honor, this is my case. This is an incident from yesterday, the 5th of March. The defendant who lives at the location with his mother and his sister. This is 1565 Stelton Way in Alpharetta. Police were called at about 5:20 p.m. It's reported that while the defendant was there at the location, his sister Callie, same last name, McElhannon, was the receiver of his aggressive behavior and rage. He evidently got angry because she didn't hear what he asked for, and he was asking about orange juice, and he didn't like her tone. He threw a light fixture, smashing it on the ground, causing glass to be everywhere, and took a dumbbell and threw it through a closet interior door. That is his mother's residence. Her name is Rochelle Thornhill. I believe she's on the Zoom today. Callie called her mother, and then police were called as well. Police spoke to mom, who said, she wasn't present, but she did have a 911 or had a call from her daughter. She could hear the commotion in the background, and she was aware that her daughter had called 911. Police observed both a damaged closet door and the damaged and broken glass on the ground. We would ask, Your Honor, for a $2,000 surety bond based on the fact that he's in violation of the last bond order. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons. We'd ask for an ADET. And we would ask for no contact at this point. mom is on the Zoom. She did not answer our questions about contact, but did say that she was under the impression her child was going to be entering a sober living location. So if you would sound for Mrs. Thornhill, she might be able to provide us with a little more information. But at this point, it's the state's position that there should be no contact. He should stay away and be subject to random screens.
So remind me, Miss Allen, what were the conditions of my last bond?
Let me pull it up. Just give me one moment.
Okay.
It was no violent contact.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. McElhanan. If you would like to address the court, I'll need for you to raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
I did request a signature bond. He is not working right now, and he is looking to get into a sober living facility. I did speak with them this morning. They are waiting for some medical information from his psychiatrist to be sent over to them. I do believe he's probably the only one who can do that. And I would very much like this process, as well as he would like this process to move forward for him to get into this facility. He applied for the facility before the incident.
Okay, and you're working with him to get in. What is the name of the facility?
No longer bound. It's in Cumming, Georgia.
Has he been accepted into the facility?
They are waiting for his medical information.
So, Your Honor, the open case, criminal trespass, 2 counts from July of 2024 is against the same victim, his mother. He does have an SOB bond in that case. It is set for plea and arraignment, or it was set for plea and arraignment in January. I don't see a next court date. And his order for release specifically says no further violent contact with mom and to remain on medication and to have a BHET. So there's not been a lot of information shared, including whether or not mom wants contact or wants him to return back to the home. There's some concerns here, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for being here. Mr. McLean?
About all I can add, Your Honor, is that he has been working on his GED as recently as a couple of days ago, a couple of days before he got arrested. He was online. He gets his GED classes through North Fulton Community Charities, which I'm familiar with. I've been there. He was talking, he does have a job offer, but this no longer bound in Cumming, Georgia. He certainly would be willing to go to that instead of going to the job offer. But he does intend to work and get off his rear end instead of hanging around. We asked for a signature bond.
Well, my biggest concern is that these criminal trespass and damage to properties that he continues to have. I'm willing to let him get into the no longer bound program, but I want him to be released to go to that program. Did you had something for me, ma'am? Yes, ma'am, Miss Hanan.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. He did appear in court. I think it was in January, and he did also email I think she was a public defender, and I've been asking about that, asking him if he had ever heard back from her. It was the same incident as what happened yesterday was the same incident then. It just doesn't sound like it when it says trespassing. This is his only residence that he's lived in. So I'm not.
Okay. Is this
Thank
your
you.
resident? Is this your residence?
Yes, sir.
And are you assisting him in getting into No Longer Bound?
Yes, sir. I noticed that they called him, so I called them this morning just to see what they called him for and to let them know that he's incarcerated.
Are you able to provide them with the information that they need to get him into that program?
I'm going to try. I talked to
Okay.
them maybe like 3 hours ago. I'm going to go to the psychiatrist's office and ask that they fax the information to them.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, Mr. McLean, is I'm going to put this on my Tuesday SAP calendar. That's March 11th. Okay, so Ms. Bridgewater, I'm going to put this on Tuesday's calendar. Ms. McElhanan, I want you to work on getting him into that No Longer Bound program. If you are able to do that, I'll take another look at this bond that I'm about to issue and make it contingent on him being transported to that program. But as far as today goes, it's going to be $1,000 good bond on each charge, makes for a $3,000 good bond. No further violent contact with the alleged victim, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Mr. McLean, I am going to need for you to communicate specifically with whoever is on my SAP calendar from your office that this is going on, because I don't want it showing up on Tuesday and nobody knowing what's been done at this SCA calendar. Understand?
Very good.
Okay, so I don't want this to fall between the cracks. I'm willing to push it up to that calendar, but I want something to happen between now and then so that this young man does not continue to be in custody if we can get him into a program. Okay,
Very
so
good.
do you have Ms. McElhanan's information to get in touch with her?
I do have her information, but I'll also be giving this to the social worker who's assigned for today.
Okay, very good. So I will see, and we'll give you the link for my Tuesday calendar, ma'am. So I'll see you all back on Tuesday, and if he's in a program, then I'll reconsider this this bond. If he's not, then we'll have to consider other alternatives. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Yes, Ms. Bridgewater.
The SAP calendar has already gone out for next Tuesday. However, we will do an add-on.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Since I'm doing the calendar, I don't mind adding it on for myself. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank
And
you.
just,
All right, thank
Your
you.
Honor, for clarification, the open case indicates that there's an MH and a compliance with medication issue, but going into a sober living facility seems to signify a separate issue. And he was ordered to undergo a BHET as part of his release on bond in July. If there's a way for us to get a little bit more information about what the overarching issue is here, we would request medication compliance also be part of this order if that's pertinent.
Sure. Are you with me?
Who did you say, Your Honor?
I'm here.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you. Have you been listening to what's
So
going
I
on?
think I caught some of it. I'm just now informed that I'm covering this court today. So
Okay, you're fine. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. This young man, I'm going to need for him to have a I'm going to put him on my calendar for next Tuesday. I would like for him to have a BHET for you to assess. He may be going into a sober living facility. I want to know if there are any other issues that we need to be concerned with.
Okay.
Can you help me with that?
what is his name, Your Honor?
The last name is McElhannon, Cornelius.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I will be able to report to you I'm actually assigned to SAP on Tuesday. So I'll see.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Okay. Does that alleviate your concerns, Miss Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. They're just
Okay.
obvious conflicting information. And so, again, I will say we've got no information here, even with direct questions about the issues around contact and feeling safe. And so that raises a red flag for safety.
Okay. So, I will see you all back on Tuesday. All right. Who do we have next?
Judge, can we do, position 2? Come on, man. Yeah.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Anbar. Ms. Anbar, you have been charged in case 25 CR 001149J with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
2024 assault that was dismissed out of Delaware.
Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident from the 4th. This was a reset from yesterday. The incident location is 1165 Clandon, Clandon Place in Johns Creek. The victim in this case is the defendant's husband. His name is David Wu Newby, Newby. The allegation here is that the defendant took her husband's cell phone, used it trying to change his password without his approval. He asked for that phone to be returned back to him multiple times and she refused. The defendant, when police spoke with her, admitted that she'd taken his phone from him, that she refused to give it back, and that there was nothing wrong with that action because they're married. We spoke to the victim. He was granted a temporary protective order yesterday in a process in Superior Court. He reports that they are married and they were living together at the location but have no children. He confirmed what was happening and reported that there's a concern about judgment and behavior, possible MH. He is in fear for his safety, and that this incident is, to quote, just the tip of the iceberg. Over the past 4 weeks, there's been assaults and threats and escalating violence. He does not feel safe. The defendant will need a one-time escort. He wants no contact and to stay away from that location. We're asking for, Your Honor, a signature bond. That although she was previously arrested for an aggravated menacing and terroristic threats and assault charge that was dismissed, but that should be taken seriously. It was just in this past year, 2024, but no further contact with the victim, Mr. Newby. Stay away from that location, 1165 Clandon Place in Johns Creek, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And I believe Mr. Newby has joined us if you'll call for him. Thank you.
Sally, what was this reset from yesterday? Was there an
medical.
issue yesterday? Oh, medical reset. Okay, thank you.
That's what the notes say. I'm unsure.
Okay, thank you. Mr. David Newby, I see you there. If you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity. You certainly don't have to, but if you would like to address the court, I'll need for you to activate your camera, unmute yourself, and I'll have to swear you in. Doesn't appear so. Mr. McLean?
Appropriate, Your Honor, I'll have Ms. Alman Williams speak with my client about housing and about we've talked about the no contact provision, but we'll get some information about where she could stay. She has relatives, one of whom is an engineer in the Atlanta metro area, and so I hope there are family resources on that side of the family to help her out with housing. But if I can't get hold of that guy, then I've got to get our social worker involved. Thank you.
Okay, it will be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail, social worker visit to assist with housing if necessary, stay away from the Clandon Place address. She can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No further contact with Mr. David Newby, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, ma'am.
I'll come explain this. We're gonna have you talk about social.
Who do we have next?
Position 9.
I'll be with you. Yes. No.
Good afternoon, Mr. Middlebrooks. You have been charged in case 25 CR 001160Y with battery and simple battery. It's my understanding that this is Mr. Middlebrooks' first arrest. Ms. McConkey?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened yesterday at 2033 Pinecone Drive in Atlanta. The victim in this case is Miss Jamesia Alexander. Officers met with the victim, who advised that her boyfriend, the defendant, started to tell her to get out of his car. He then proceeded to punch her in the face, pull her hair, and push her in the chest. Officers noted the defendant had visible scratches and bruises on her face and forehead. Officers viewed a video which showed the defendant pulling the victim out of the car and pushing her in the chest. Our office has spoken with Miss Alexander, who states that she was just released from the hospital early this morning and that she cannot see out of her left eye. She stated she's scheduling appointments to get that checked out. She stated that she is currently pregnant. She lives with her father and that she went to visit the defendant at his house, and she sometimes spends the night there. On this particular night, she felt uncomfortable and asked the defendant to take her home. Once they got in the car, they began to argue. The defendant was throwing things at her. She also states that the defendant began to choke her, and that after the defendant choked her in the car, he grabbed all of her hair in his hand and began yanking her out of the car. She says that the defendant kept swinging at her and punching her in the face, kept calling her a bitch and a whore, and that this is the first time things have been physical. She explained that they have had some verbal arguments in the past. But again, this is the first time things got physical. Due to her being pregnant, she's currently not sure how she feels about no further contact, and she may want contact at this time. The state's recommendation, based on the allegations and our office's conversation with the victim, is a $3,500 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, and that the defendant undergo some anger awareness. I would ask the court to sound for Miss Jamesia Alexander.
Ms. Alexander, I see you there. If you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. You certainly don't have to, but if you would like to, I'll need for you to unmute yourself, activate your camera, and I will have to swear you in.
No, thank you, sir. I'm not camera ready. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here, Ms. Alexander. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, my client is, he was 19 and works at Emory University, in one of the cafeterias or one of the restaurants there. He has a high school education from Thurl. We would ask the court to consider under these circumstances a signature bond.
Okay, for each charge, it will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Miss Alexander, stay away from her residential address, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Middlebrooks. You as well, Miss Alexander.
Can you repeat that last bar?
It'll be a total of a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1.
Okay. All right. So they're not asking the question.
No.
So I want to go back to her stuff.
Y'all would just need to figure that out to the counselor.
Question. Are you good? You good, yeah. Position 10.
Good afternoon, Mr. Oliphant. You've been charged in case 25 CR 001161G with disorderly conduct and simple battery. It's your history, Mr. Howard.
40. Got an open shop business in Superior Court. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He got 7 FTAs in the last 4 years. He been in custody since November.
Yes, Ms. McConkey.
Your Honor, this incident happened yesterday at the jail. The victim in this case is Mr. Alteric Dockery. The defendant is accused of punching the victim in the face because the victim would not give him a broom. The incident was caught on the jail video. So the state's recommendation is a $2,000 surety bond. We'd ask for no further violent contact with the victim since they are in the same facility. It might be difficult for them to have no contact whatsoever. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
Mr. McLean?
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Oh, good afternoon, Ms. McLeod. This is your case?
It is, Your Honor.
Okay. You
Your
can go
Honor,
ahead.
Mike is not in a position to pay for bond, as the state has said. He has been in jail since last November. So based on that, I would definitely be asking for a signature bond for him. He has other holds, so he's not going anywhere anytime soon. Nothing further, Your Honor.
For each charge, it'll be a $500 good bond, makes for a total of a $1,000 good bond. No further violent contact with Mr. Dockery. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Up next.
Position 11, Richardson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Richardson. You have been charged in case 25 CR 001162F with battery family violence and simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
10. 2015 ag stalking conviction. 2015 ag assault with a deadly weapon. Possession of a knife or a firearm during a conviction. 2014 battery DV, cruelty in the third conviction. That's it.
Ms. McConkey?
Yes, Your Honor. These charges stem from two separate incidents. The first one, the battery family violence, is from January 4th of this year. The victim in the case is Janelle Johnson, who is the defendant's wife. The incident happened at 811 Hank Aaron Drive Southwest in Atlanta. Officers arrived at the location and spoke with the victim, who stated that her husband had attacked her because he accused her of sleeping with an unknown male. The victim told officers the defendant punched her in the face several times, and officers did note that her face was swollen. The second incident is from March 5th of 2025. I'm not sure if there's a warrant for this incident yet, but there is a police report that our office has reviewed. It happened at the same location, 811 Hank Aaron Drive Southwest in Atlanta. The victim had just come home from the hospital, and her husband began having a verbal dispute. She attempted to leave the apartment because she did not want to argue with him. He proceeded to grab her by the arm and punch her in the face 2 times. The victim advised officers that the defendant was very intoxicated and had been aggressive with her in the past as well. The defendant's mother was on scene and stated that she witnessed the verbal dispute between the parties, and there was also a bit of a shoving match. She said she observed the victim leave the apartment and the defendant follow her, but she did not see whether or not the defendant struck the victim. Our office has spoken with Ms. Johnson, who states that the defendant had asked her to come to his mom's house to see her. The victim went. When she went, the defendant was drunk, punched her in the face, as was stated in the warrant. He threw her phone, so she wasn't able to call the police. The victim did indicate that she is afraid for her life, and she believes that the defendant will kill her. She says that she's not going back to him this time, and that her best friend was recently killed by her boyfriend, and she doesn't want the same thing to happen to her. She says the defendant has gotten her fired from her jobs in the past and has also sent naked pictures of her to her coworkers. She said that his mom is in the process of having him removed from her lease and the property. The victim is currently staying with her parents. The defendant does not know where her parents' address is. We will be asking for a stay away from that address. The defendant has called the victim while he's been in jail. In one conversation, he tells her that they're trying to charge him with aggravated battery and that he didn't beat her like that, and tells her that he is sorry. In another conversation, the defendant tells her that he probably won't be able to go back home, and he tells her, "You finally stood up for yourself, huh?" And that she's the first woman to ever do that to him. The victim tells him that she stood up for herself because he was going to kill her. Another conversation, the defendant asks the victim if he punched her, and she says, yes, he did. He says that he can't remember, and he tells her that, "You're not coming back home, are you?" She says, no, she's not. He tells her that he loves her, and again, that he's sorry. the state's recommendation, given the facts in this case, our conversation with the victim, the defendant's criminal history, and the conversation that he's had with the victim over the phone is for $8,000 surety bond. No further contact with the victim. Stay away from the victim's residence, wherever that may be. Stay away from the victim's job. An FEIP or anger awareness, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. We are obviously very concerned about the safety of this victim and also possible intimidation. I would ask the court to sound for Ms. Janelle Johnson.
Ms. Johnson, I see you on the line. If you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. If you choose to, you'll need to activate your camera, unmute yourself, and I'll have to swear you in. It doesn't appear that she'd like to address the court this afternoon. Mr. McLean?
Thank you, Your Honor. Steve Richardson's 39 years old. He's lived in Georgia all his life. There's an address of Rose Walk in Covington, Georgia. His education is Washington High School, and he is working currently at a college restaurant, or excuse me, not currently. He's been accepted and hired for that job and supposed to start tonight. He has also worked in the past at Hill Manufacturing. They do chemicals, and he was doing an ice melt with certain chemicals, and that harmed his lungs. So that's why he doesn't work there anymore. Before that, he worked for years at Metro Steel. And he is currently in school now. Thank you.
Who lives at the Hank Aaron Drive address?
It's my understanding that's his mother's residence. The victim may have been living there at some point, but she's indicated that she's currently with her parents now.
I think that's correct. That would be the defendant's mother.
All right. For the battery, it'll be a $2,000 good bond. For the simple battery, $1,000 good bond. Makes for a total of a $3,000 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Johnson. Stay away from her residence and her job. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Mr. Richardson, let me make it clear to you what no further contact means. No contact means obviously no physical contact, no telephone contact, no social media contact, no emails, no contact through third parties, no contact whatsoever until this matter is resolved in one way or another. Okay? Good luck to you, sir. Next.
I'll call you tomorrow.
Sir?
Can I just state this?
Hold on, Mr. Richardson. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. I'm sure that Mr. McLean would advise you against making a statement, but that's up to you. Just know that not only is this, are the solicitors on this call and listening to everything that you have to say, but it's also being live streamed. So with that admonition, if you want to make a statement, I can't stop you. So go ahead.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to say, he's been very supportive, but tonight, like yesterday morning, I had got a job and I'm supposed to start tonight, and I wouldn't definitely I was just like, it's been kind of hardship right now, and plus I'm in school online, so right now I want to have no one. My mom, like, she get a Social Security check every month. She won't be able to bond me out. I won't be able to bond out, period. And even though I know that's a good, I'm not charging your suggesting what you're making, but it would have been great if I could have had got a signature bond, because like I said, I start work tonight, and then if I don't, if I sit here long enough, and then I can maybe like get put out of school, because I've been like, I have 2 more years to finish school online with Phoenix University. I don't want to lose that, because we have to make daily attendance by every Tuesday or every week. And my main thing, Your Honor, man, like when I'm a sober person, man, like it's just different. I really, if you can help me, like, give me a SOB, I can go get help as far as like my alcohol problem, man. But Rather than that, like, I wouldn't bother my wife anymore, but I think my recent past history is because like alcohol. So, if that can help me out, sir, because I don't want to mess up my school. I'm almost like 2 years in. And like I said, I started this occupation tonight and it's been hardship been so long for me right now. And I know I made that bed work right now. I'm just asking for a assistance, sir.
Okay, well, I appreciate that, Mr. Richardson. I've made my bond announcement. Good luck to you, sir. I'll suggest that you work with Mr. McLean.
Your Honor, I just got the victim's parents' address, so if we could just specify that address in the bond order as the stay away, that's where she's currently staying.
If you want
It is.
to, you want to put
Send it
that
to-
on the record, or do you want to just send that to Ms. Bridgewater?
I'll send it to Ms. Bridgewater.
Okay, thank you, Ms. McConkey.
Thank you.
Okay, courtroom 2, do you want me to go to the South Annex? That South Annex has been on with us for a while now.
Go ahead, Judge. That's fine.
Okay, who do we have at the South Annex?
Hey, Judge, can you hear us?
Yes, good afternoon.
Oh, Jaquavius Hammond.
Mr. Hammond? Good afternoon, Mr. Hammond. You have been charged in case 25 CR 001155D with battery, criminal trespass, willful obstruction of law enforcement officers, and another count of battery. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
I didn't have a Hammond on my pull sheet.
Do you have the history, Miss Allen?
Yeah, to some degree, Your Honor. The defendant has 2 open cases. He's currently out with an ankle monitor, was on first appearance, I believe, today for a hijacking or armed robbery or both. Booking number 2410666. This is an incident from December, Your Honor. No, yes, excuse me, December the 25th. He was at 2637 Old Hateville Road Southwest, apartment 41A. That's where this defendant's 16-year-old girlfriend lives with her sister and her mother. The victim's name or her initials are AJ. At about 11:19 p.m., police were called to the location. It's reported that in front of the younger sister of AJ, the defendant came to the location, began throwing rocks at the window, became enraged when he wasn't responded to as he felt appropriately and quickly. He knocked in and kicked in the front door of the residence in the location, and then assaulted Mrs. AJ, the 16-year-old. He struck her repeatedly. The warrant says more than 10 times with a closed fist. She had abrasions and swelling all over her face and cheekbones. Her sister jumped in, and eventually the defendant fled to his apartment where he lives with his mom in the same location in that area, apartment E, building 16. When officers detained this young man and tried to arrest him, they noted he had an ankle monitor on. He physically resisted and had to be taken to the ground in order to put cuffs on him, and started screaming, "Kill me, don't take me to jail, just kill me now." I would note we did try to get in touch with the mother of this young woman. Her name is Pamela. Today, and we were not successful, but this defendant has been communicating with the 16-year-old victim, who he viciously assaulted when she didn't respond to him appropriately or fast enough, from the jail. And there's some serious concerns, Your Honor, and obviously the state's concerned about a possibility of reoffending, and based on the criminal history. Although he's 17 years old, he has multiple open, very serious cases that he's out on bond for. And he's already been in contact, or continues to be in contact, with this young woman who should feel safe in her home and not have to answer phone calls from someone who battered her so brutally. So we're asking for a $5,000 surety bond, Your Honor, and stay away from the minor, AJ, as well as her house, which is the apartment 41A at 2637 Old Hapeville. And mom specifically is Pamela Jackson, the other child who intervened and was also a witness to this. Her initials are GJ. And so we would ask for a stay away and no contact with all three of those individuals, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, Mr. Hammond is 17. His understanding is that he will not be eligible for release from his current situation until December. So he'll be coming up on SAP soon, where more detail can be had. We would ask the court to set the appropriate bond. Thank you.
The client has his hand up, Mr. McLean.
Mr. Hammond, yes.
I just wanted to clarify some things. I had my case, my armed robbery case. I took time for that case, so I'm currently serving time for that case. I went to court on January 14th, and the judge dismissed the case. And I printed out a paper, so I'm confused on how I'm coming back to court for this case. And the first open case was a sealed case from like 2020.
Okay, somebody will look into that for you before your next court appearance, Mr. Hammond. As far as this bond goes, for each of the batteries, it will be $1,000 good bond. For the criminal trespass, a $500 good bond. For the obstruction, a $500 good bond. Makes for a total of a $3,000 good bond. No further contact with Miss Pamela Jackson or either of the two minors that are in the household. Stay away from the old Hapeville address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Excuse me, Judge.
Yes, sir.
And one more thing, I live in that location, but I would say the victim, they don't live in that location no more.
Again, we'll have somebody address that before your next court appearance, okay?
All right.
So that will be the bond at the present time. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Position 13.
Hey, Judge,
Yes.
good to go?
We don't have anyone else at the South Annex this afternoon?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time then.
All right, Judge, have a great day.
Do the same.
All right.
Good afternoon, Mr. Tate. You have been charged in case 25 CR 001167J with 3 counts of simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Well, has a felony and misdemeanor bench warrant. Hold out of the cab. Open case, theft by taking battery DV. It's 24 SC 003625. Open simple battery DV 23 CR 004 081. 2021 simple battery conviction. 2016 disorderly conduct conviction. 2015 and 11 failure to appear.
Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. So just to identify the relevant cases in that criminal history you just heard about, the hold for this young man out of DeKalb is from an assault against the same victim in October of 2024 out of Brookhaven. I just called and requested a copy of that police report and confirmed that that is the situation. He has a current open 23 CR 004081J, simple battery against the same victim you're about to hear about, an open felony theft and battery against her in Superior Court. That's the 24 SC case you just heard about. And he also has a conviction for a simple assault against her from 2021, where he was ordered to have no violent contact with her and to complete FVIP. So the case in front of you today, Your Honor, is from August. Looks like a common situation where a report of an assault is made, but the defendant has fled following that assault and a warrant is obtained or warrants are obtained, but the defendant's not picked up until sometime later. So this incident happened in August. Between the incident and his arrest, he was arrested again in October in Brookhaven for an assault on the same young woman. Her name's Alexis Smith. They share a very small child. The call in this case was made at about noon to 2423 MLK Junior Drive Northwest. The victim and her mother met with police, reported that there'd been an incident earlier in the day. They thought the defendant was leaving. He did not leave, and he assaulted Mrs. Smith a second time. The police report details that about 6:30 in the morning, the defendant grabbed her by her neck and impeded her breath. When we spoke to her today, she said that she thought she was going to be killed while she was being strangled. He pushed her onto the bed and got on top of her, shook her, and said to her, "I seriously hurt you, girl," afterwards. She said she couldn't breathe for about 30 seconds and was unable to talk, that when he finally let her go, she was choking, and she was afraid for her life. He then came up to her and shoved her. He grabbed her by her arms and shoved her. She was holding their child. Her mother, who was present, was a witness to this and has been a witness to prior incidences. Mrs. Kellogg, who is her mother, told police that this is an abusive relationship, told police that there were multiple incidences and prior calls, and that she's fearful that the defendant had also fled before police arrived. The police report also indicates that they notified DFACS of ongoing issues and there being a very young child present. The victim, Alexis Smith, told police on the scene that she's probably called 911 at least 10 times. She reported that she was afraid that the defendant assaulted her in front of their small baby. That date of birth, that child has a date of birth of 2024, so very small when this happened in August. And when we spoke to her today, she said that at this point, the defendant comes over and acts like he just wants to see the baby. And what ends up happening is he always assaults her. She feels like that's really what he's focused on. She also says she's in fear. She wants no contact, that the defendant is constantly outside of her house where she lives with her mother, in the bushes, and even in possession of a firearm. She is terrified. Your Honor, we're asking for a $6,000 cash bond, no contact with Mrs. Smith, and to stay away from that location. And I would note that I'm not detailing what the conditions of the bond he's on in that 23 CR case, because my understanding is it's in bench warrant status. But we can try to confirm that. And if you could sound for Mrs. Smith in case she's joined us. I'll pull up that bond now.
Thank you. Ms. Alexis Smith is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Doesn't appear so. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, Jonathan Tate is 33. He has 10th grade education so far and has worked at the LSG Scottish Chef. He's also done temporary jobs through the years at various temporary agencies, and asked the court to consider the lowest bond possible, including a signature bond if that were possible, and if not, a $1,000 or $2,000 shirt.
Ms. Allen?
So he had a bond surrender and forfeited October 2024, Rule NISI issued, and that was returned. He is set for SAP on the 13th, Your Honor, in that open 23 CR case.
Okay. So for each charge will be $1,000 cash bond. No further contact with Alexis Smith. Stay away from the MLK Junior Drive address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. So it makes for a total of a $3,000 cash bond. Also, given that he already has a case on the SAP, Ms. Bridgewater, can we place this case on the SAP calendar on the 13th as well?
Yes, sir, I will.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Your Honor, that 23 CR bond is your bond, and it specifically says no further contact from June of 2023.
Thank you. Okay. You have everything you need, courtroom two?
I do.
Courtroom two, did you get the add-on calendar? We
Yes,
have a,
yes, and we also have Lee Riley. He's gonna be an add-on. He's supposed to be taking a plea. I got Mr. Riley right here.
okay.
That's why Mr.
So-
Bartels is here, Your Honor, and Ms. Falk is going to be joining us.
That is correct, yes. Good afternoon, Your Honor. Hi, Ms. Allen.
Afternoon, Mr.
Yes,
Bartel.
that is correct. He was on the 11 a.m. calendar, Judge, and was not brought in. But we're ready to proceed with that whenever that's possible.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that,
Yeah.
I'm happy to do that as soon as possible. And also, I just wanted to make courtroom two aware that I believe there's a private attorney representing the add-on one, Zayas. So if we can get him whenever you can.
Yes, thank you.
Y'all, come on.
State, you got the history for Zayas?
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Your Honor. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Is this Mr. Zayas?
My name's is it position
Yeah.
14?
Who? 14.
Hey, Stephen Young, sir. Good morning.
Oh, okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Young.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Young, you have been charged in case 25 CR 001164C with 2 counts of criminal trespass.
2 or 1?
I have 2, Mr. Young.
You got-
Okay, so they'll explain it to you.
Okay,
Mr. Young.
I'm gonna ask you tonight.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, he got 60 total. Open shoplifting.
All right.
With 2 of them on probation for robbery, ag assault, and burglary second degree. 2024 probation. 2019 trespass, ag assault conviction. 2019 probation. 2019 shoplifting conviction. 2015 trespass, battery, criminal attempt to commit a felony. Possession of cocaine, crossing state county guard lines with drugs or weapons conviction. 2015 trespass conviction. 2015 possession of cocaine conviction. 2014 simple battery conviction. I saw 3 trespass convictions from 2013 and the 09 trespass no law.
Your Honor,
Yes, Ms. Allen.
this is an incident from yesterday, the 5th of March, specifically at a location called Express DOT Physicals. That's at the shopping mall at 2740 Greenbrier Parkway. Police were called at about 3:15 by security at the location who reported that ongoing issues were had with this individual who was well known to them, that he had entered into the location and refused to leave after being asked multiple times. When police ran information for this young man, it was seen that he'd previously been criminally trespassed from the location in December of 2023. We're asking, based on his history and the fact that he doesn't seem to understand he needs to stay away after being criminally trespassed and had done something like this in the past multiple times, we're asking for a $2,000 surety. The risk to reoffend in this case is high. And we'd ask for stay away and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And if there needs to be some kind of a evaluation, we would join that with defense recommendation. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. McLean.
Your Honor, Stephen Young is 38 years old. He's gone through the 11th grade in high school. He's also been working at Checkers for a year in the food business and has worked on the dock at a warehouse, shipping, loading and unloading trucks. He wants the court to know that he did successfully in a previous matter. He successfully completed his program at Hope House and Victory Outreach. Thank you. That's not pretty today. Thank you, Your Honor. We would ask the court to consider the lowest bond possible, given, excuse me, because of the nature of the charges, we would like to ask the court to consider a signature bond. Thank you.
They never asked me to leave, Judge.
They're not trying the case today.
He said, you can't come in here. I asked him, could I buy a cigar? He said, no. He said, you criminal trespass. He called the police and they brought me back to jail. I promise to stay away from that location. I haven't been in trouble in a long time and I haven't done anything. I just went over there to get a cigar and he called the police. I apologize. I will not do it again. I will not return to that location. I have 5 children, I'm in school, and I'm working, and I haven't been in trouble in at least a few months just trying to straighten my life up, going to school. And this is a small charge, nothing like my past. I'm trying to change. I will not return to that location. I promise.
Okay, all right. So what I'm gonna do, Mr. Jones, I'm gonna have a social worker come out and visit you. And based on what they tell me, I'll take another look at this bond down the road, okay? So, but I do want to, hold on a second for
Please,
me.
Your Honor, don't leave me in jail for criminal trespassing. I'm going to, I haven't stolen anything. I haven't robbed anybody. I'm just on somebody's property accidentally. They didn't want to
Okay,
ask.
so, Mr.
That's
Young, Mr.
all. I
Young,
will not return there.
again, we're not trying the case today, and you're already on probation for a number of things. So listen to me. I want to have a social worker visit to us to help you with anything that you might need help with. Okay,
Your
so
Honor, I'm already receiving help because I am in the PAD program. That's why I'm trying to get back out. I haven't done
okay, so
anything.
if you are in the PAD program, they will report back to me. Okay,
What
but
I'm
as
saying.
far as today goes, it's going to be a $250 good bond on each charge, makes for a total of a $500 good bond. Stay away from the Express DOT at the Greenbrier Mall. Or on Greenbrier Parkway, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on
Judge
bond.
Morrow, please, can you hear me out, please?
Okay, I hear you, Mr. Young, but I'm gonna have a social worker.
You've let all these people go for criminal trial. I haven't been in no trouble, and I've been stabbed in my head. And I don't feel comfortable. I'm living a lifestyle that people don't understand in this jail. I just want to signature bond. I will report to court. I haven't been in trouble in a long time. Criminal trespassing, sir. Please work with me. I will go to PAD. They will come back and we'll come to court together. I will make sure as soon as I get out, I contact them and I will come back. I haven't done anything that was that big. If you look at my history, I'm a troublemaker. So if you see this and you see this minuscule little charge, you know that I've been trying to change my life, Your Honor. That's all that I'm saying is please, I am a bad person. I have been changing my life. I just went somewhere not having the understanding that I wasn't really supposed to be there. And I went there to get me a cigar, a case of cigars to smoke. And they called the police. He already put me in handcuffs. The police came and they took me to jail. It was a
Okay, Mr. Young, I'm gonna hear back from the social worker, okay? And then I'll reevaluate it once I hear back from the social worker.
Evaluated for what, sir? This is not fair. I have to sit in jail for almost a week.
Who do we have? Who do we have next?
How long will I be here? How long will I be here? 14 days. Get the fuck out of here. Nobody.
Okay, who do we have?
All right, we got position 5, Cunningham.
Okay, Mr. Cunningham, good afternoon. You have been charged in case 25 CR 001159J with battery, family violence, and cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Second, on probation, selling marijuana out of Tatnall County. That's all.
Cocky?
Your Honor, this incident happened yesterday at 4550 Washington Road in South Fulton. The victim in this case is Ms. Skylar Beeson. The victim advised officers that she had been physically assaulted by her living roommate and boyfriend, the defendant. The altercation ensued over a cell phone that she had purchased for him. After she requested it back, he became physical with her by spitting on her while she was holding her 3-month-old daughter, a minor with the initials SB. The victim put her daughter down and the defendant hit her in the face with a closed fist, leaving her with a large laceration above her left eyebrow. The defendant told officers that all the claims against him were false and he didn't know how the victim sustained the injuries to her face. The defendant told officers that his stepfather was present during the altercation, but it was discovered that his stepfather was not on scene for the entirety of the incident. The defendant was arrested based on personal testimony and, of course, the physical injury sustained by the victim. Our office spoke with the victim, who says that she is currently in the hospital for her injuries, that her and the defendant live with the defendant's mom, and that she pays rent to the mom. She says the defendant's mom has been texting her, accusing her of stealing her gun, that when the defendant gets upset, he grabs his mom's weapon and acts like he's about to shoot it. She believes the defendant may have had the gun in his pants yesterday during the incident, but she's not sure. She states a bag of clothes is missing, and she fears the defendant's mom has her bag and will put the gun in her bag. She says the defendant's mom is accusing her of damaging her property. However, the defendant is the one who punched holes in the wall yesterday when people were telling him to get off of her. The state's recommendation for the defendant is a $3,500 surety bond based on the allegations in the warrant and the concerns raised during our conversation with the victim. No further contact with the victim at this time, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, that he surrender any firearms that are in his possession, and that he's, of course, not in any residence, household, or place where there are weapons. Based on what the conversation we had with the victim, it doesn't seem like the defendant's mom's home is a safe place for her either. So that is why we are currently not requesting a stay away from that location, because it just doesn't seem like that's a place that she should be in, because it's the defendant's mom's home and she has been acting towards her in this manner. I would ask the court to sound for the victim in this case, Ms. Skylar Beeson. I will, of course, leave that stay away in the court's discretion, though.
Ms. Beeson is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. If you'll raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, and I take it that you're not driving the vehicle, are you?
No.
Okay, what would you like to tell the court, ma'am?
Okay, basically everything that the lady just said, because I called her this morning, gave her more information. But how it happened yesterday morning, Tay woke up like he always do, angry with everybody in the house. He basically got mad with me because I told him not to say F his son. So when I said, don't say F your son, because matter of fact, he said, fuck you, nigga. And I'm like, that's a 2-year-old. Don't talk to him like that. He said, bitch, fuck you too. So I said,
I object to this line of testimony, Your Honor. This is a bond hearing matter and is not being tried today.
Okay, so I'm gonna hear from Ms. Beeson. Ms. Beeson, watch your language for me, and I'm happy to hear what you have to say.
moral of the story, this is an everyday thing with Tay. And that morning I told him I'm not going to start with him today. I'm going to call the police. And he started with me. And not only that, he called all his family over there. And they cornered me in the kitchen. Not only that, the stepdad, everybody was on the scene. They just fled when they left. So, and he did do this to my eye. I'm just not getting out the hospital for it. Don't know what he hit me with, but he hit me with something hard.
Okay. And where are you living, Ms. Beeson?
Now I'm staying with my sister.
Okay, so you're not living at the residence with his mother anymore, is that right?
No.
Okay, all right. Thank you for being here this afternoon, ma'am.
Ms.
Thomas?
Beeson, sorry, Your Honor, I just want to make sure she doesn't have anything over there that she needs to get.
I do actually. I didn't get all of my stuff, and I still don't have my clothes that he ducked off wherever he ducked them off at. But I said I was just gonna replace all of that. But I do need my stuff.
So we would just like the.
He threw my babies. He threw everything out of ours, basically. Everything.
Thank you, Ms. Beeson. If the warrant could just, or if you could just tell the defendant to allow the victim to come get her belongings, whether or not it's through a police escort, just to ensure her safety.
If it's still there.
Okay, if she has things at that address, of course she can come, but I want her to go with a police escort. So doesn't, as you said, Ms. McConkey, does not seem like that's a good environment for her or for anyone. All right, thank you. Ms. Thomas?
Thank you, Your Honor. And Mr. Cunningham, I'm going to advise that you place your hand down and advise that you don't try to make any statements as it pertains to this ongoing case, as it will be used against you. This matter is just bond. We're just going to address bond, and at a later date, you will be able to have your day in court. Your Honor, Mr. Cunningham is 22 years of age. As we heard, that is his mother's residence. He lives there. I did advise that if Miss Beeson was still at the location, that he would need to confirm that she is completely gone from that location before returning back. He obviously does not have a say as to, whether or not she can come back to the residence, but we'll leave that at the court's discretion. But we would be asking that he be allowed to return back to his residence. We're not opposed to any no contact provision. As he expressed to me, they're no longer together. He assured me that they won't be living together. They do not share any children together either, Your Honor. He is a father to a 1-year-old son, one son that's 2 years of age. He's been a lifelong Georgia resident. He expressed that he's currently seeking employment. He has a job interview scheduled for this Saturday at a deli. Mr. Cunningham also completed the 12th grade, indicated that he doesn't have any mental or disabilities, Your Honor. As we heard, he doesn't have a significant criminal history, I believe, a marijuana conviction, Your Honor. We would be asking for a signature bond on his behalf, or a bond amount no more than $1,000.
For the battery, it will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. The cruelty, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. Makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Beeson. If Ms. Beeson needs to get some belongings from that address, she can go back to that address with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. He is to relinquish all firearms and have no drugs, alcohol, or firearms while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Cunningham.
All right, Judge, before we go to position 7, add-on 1, I have Mr. Wheeler here in the courtroom. He was on my pull sheet for this morning to be pulled for court. He went to felony court, and his one of his felony charge had got dismissed. And I guess on his 3 card, I'm looking at a simple battery, family violence, and a criminal trespass. And he's not on the calendar for today.
What's his name?
Wheeler. What's your first name? Tanza Wheeler.
Those charges are associated with the DA case. I spoke with the clerk and staff this morning. I don't have the ability to even look at it. He's not on my sheet either. That's also an issue. But so the DA number that case is, those charges are associated with. When I looked, hold on, I'm sorry. 25 DA 02180. Mr. Tanza Wheeler.
Yes, ma'am.
So we'll have to reset him for
Until
tomorrow.
I've got a case that I can
Right.
look at that's sent to me. Yes, please.
Okay, so we'll reset that case for tomorrow, 3/7.
And Your Honor, that's also a conflict case.
Okay, so someone will, Ms. Bridgewater, if you'll notify conflict that attorney that they'll be needed for this case for tomorrow, or that case.
Okay.
All right, position 7, Harris.
Good afternoon, Mr. Harris. You've been charged in case 25 CR 001156Y with battery, simple battery, criminal trespass, and another count of battery. Your history, Mr. Howard?
29 on probation in state court for battery DV. 24 CR 005885Y. Got an open marijuana possession out of the city of Atlanta. 2013 probation, 2012 fade to appear.
Alan?
Your Honor, this is an incident from yesterday, the 5th of March. At about 10:45 p.m., police were called to the Chevron gas station at 1683 Lakewood Avenue. There they met with the victim. His name is Sirham Danthori. I'll write that in the chat for Mrs. Bridgewater. He reported that the defendant entered the location, engaged in conversation with people. When he spoke to the defendant followed him out of the room and got in his face, shoved him with both of his hands on his body, and then proceeded to follow him to the counter where he punched him repeatedly before fleeing the store. The victim reported that he knows this gentleman because he was previously criminally trespassed on February the 5th of this year. He was still on scene nearby when police arrived and they took him into custody. The assault on the clerk there was captured on video that was reviewed by officers. The victim had lacerations to his face as well as around his mouth. And he is upset and visibly shaken. When we spoke to him today, he confirmed what happened. He reported that this is the second time the defendant has assaulted him. He assaulted him in February, the last time he was there as well. He would like absolutely no contact and to stay away from the location. We're asking for a $4,000 surety bond, Your Honor. Stay away from the location, have no contact, and we'd like a social worker visit. Thank you.
Whose case is this?
This would be my case, Your Honor. However, I didn't get a chance to speak with Mr. Harris. I'll be glad to go in a breakout session if you want to take another case, or if Mike can chat with him. I'm not sure.
Right here, I can do it here.
Okay.
Okay. So can we go to someone else? We have two people left.
Attorney Thomas, you can talk to Harris. I can go ahead and do the add-on one. That's going to be Mike McLean, client.
Okay.
All right.
And
Well, I
Ms.
think there's a
Falcon,
private.
Ms. Falk and Mr. Bartels are here to take the plea on Mr. Riley as well.
Mr. Ford, who do you represent?
Riley, sit down. So, Judge, can we do the add-on one?
Yeah, I'm Mr. Zalis.
Okay, is this Mr. Zalis?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is not, he has a private attorney.
Okay, that's what we asked him. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Zayas. You have been charged in case 25 CR 001169C with criminal trespass, damage to property, family violence. Do you have the history, Mr. Howard?
I'm pulling it now. Oh, it's first arrest on his PSA.
Okay. Yes, Miss Allen.
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident happened yesterday on the 5th of March. This is a single count of criminal damage. The defendant does not live at the incident location. It's the residence of his family, his parents specifically, 35 Mount Whitney Place in Johns Creek. Police were called at about 8:15 yesterday, where the defendant was engaged in a verbal argument with his parents, Mrs. Geraldine and Mr. Anthony Zayas. The defendant then picked up and threw and kicked a flower pot on their front porch, breaking it. He admitted these actions when police were on scene. We spoke to the victims today, Your Honor. They reported that they're requesting an MH, that they are concerned about occurring and maybe multiple issues with emotionally unstable behavior recently. We're asking for a $2,000 SOB through pretrial to stay away from that location and have an MHET as requested. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and no contact. But the Zayas are here on the Zoom, so if you would sound for them, or Mr. Ford can talk about the contact request. Thank you.
Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Ford. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I would agree with everything the state has put forth. The only caveat being, I think that a no violent contact provision would be probably best suited
Okay,
as opposed to no contact.
Is that what his parents want?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
all right. As such, it will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further violent contact with his parents, an MHET, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, sir. Anything further this afternoon, Mr. Ford?
No, Your Honor, thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you for your patience. Okay, can we do,
Seven, we'll go back to Harris.
okay, so Ms. Thomas?
Thank you, Your Honor. I wasn't able to get much information, but Mr. Harris is 36 years of age. He's been a lifelong Georgia resident. He's expressed that he lives with his mom and dad. He hasn't had any contact with them since he's been in custody. He couldn't provide a contact number. He indicates he doesn't have any children. He completed the 7th grade. When asked if he had any history of any diagnosis of MH or physical disabilities, he indicated no. He's currently unemployed and doesn't have any means to make any type of bond. So we will just defer to the court and possibly revisit and maybe a SAP if I can get a social worker down there to maybe do some sort of assessment.
Yep. Okay, so for today, for each of the batteries, it'll be $1,000 good bond. With a simple battery, a $500 good bond. With a criminal trespass, a $500 good bond. Makes for a total of a $3,000 good bond. No further contact with the alleged victim. Stay away from the Lakewood Avenue address. Social worker visit to assess for a BHET. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Thank you.
Good luck to you, Mr. Harris.
Your Honor, will you repeat the bonds for the batteries again?
1,000 for each battery.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Riley, come on.
Okay, I don't have anything regarding this next case, so if someone can give me the case number along with the charges.
Yes, Your Honor, I can. The case is 25 CR 000832 C. So that's 25 CR 000832 C. The defendant is charged with 1 count of criminal trespass.
And what's the name?
The name is Lee Riley.
Good afternoon, Mr. Riley. Can you hear me okay? Mr. Riley, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, can you raise your right hand for me, please, sir?
Yeah.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Did you hear me, Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Okay, do you swear you're gonna tell the truth?
Yes.
Okay, all right, you can place your hand down. Thank you, sir. Yes,
Counter today.
Ms. Bridgewater?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're not on mute right there for me.
I'm
You're fine. Yes, Ms. Falk.
Yes, Your Honor. This case was on our competency calendar this morning at 11 a.m. However, PD Bartels had assessed the defendant was prepared to take a plea and he does not believe he is IST. So we wish to move forward. However, this morning he could not be brought down as quickly as we needed to. It was at the end of the calendar. So Judge Law had us request that he be brought down at 2 o'clock today to see if we could just handle the plea, since this case, as well as some foreign holds, are the only thing keeping him in custody.
Okay, you can proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident happened February 16th, 2025 at 550 Peachtree Street Northeast in Atlanta. The defendant was at Emory University Hospital Midtown and did not wish to leave after being asked to leave repeatedly and was therefore arrested for criminal trespass. The state's recommendation on this case is 12 months, served 38 days, credit for time served 19 days. That's going to be from February 16th of 2025 until today. Balance suspended. Stay away from Emory University Hospital in Midtown unless seeking medical treatment. That's all for the state. We do ask the defense to stipulate to venue, factual basis, and identification for the purposes of the plea.
We do so stipulate.
Okay. Mr. Riley, it's my understanding. Can you unmute their courtroom too for me, please?
I'll just say, Your Honor, Mr. Riley is a little bit hard of hearing from what I observed. I can sympathize too. So the court may need to say things, once or twice.
Okay, that's fine. Mr. Riley, can you hear me okay? Mr.
Yes.
Riley?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Riley, it's my understanding that in case 25 CR 0000832C, you wish to plead guilty to criminal trespass, is that right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol this afternoon?
I'm in jail.
Okay, you've been represented by Mr. Bartels. Are you happy with what he's done for you?
Yes, sir.
You understand that you have a right to a trial by jury on this charge, and that by pleading guilty to it, you're giving up that right?
Yes, sir.
Has anybody forced you to plead guilty?
No.
Okay, I'll accept the plea as negotiated, Mr. Riley. Good luck to you, sir.
They did.
All right, thank you, Judge. And I will, Ms. Bridgewater, I'll send the plea form in when we're done here.
Mr. Bartell, can you send it to Ms. Champion, please?
Ms. Champion, okay, we'll do. All right.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, anything further?
No, Your Honor, that concludes my business. May I be excused?
Yes, see you next time. Ms.
Same here.
Moore.
Thank you.
And
Judge.
thank you
You're
everyone on the SEA team for allowing us to drop by.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Take
Okay,
care.
let's see. I believe that does it, Ms. Bridgewater. Whenever you're ready for us.
Okay. Give me just a second to gather some papers here. Okay. Once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is going to be March the 20th. Let me turn this on. Okay, here I am. Position number 1 is reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through the jail. And we did add an extra charge of criminal trespass. Position 2 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through the jail. Position 3, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 4 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $2,000 good bond. 5 is reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 6 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $3,000 good bond. 7 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $3,000 good bond. 8 is going to the SAP calendar for March the 11th with a total $3,000 good bond. 9 is reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through pretrial. 10 is going to the SAP calendar dated March the 20th with a total $1,000 good bond. 11 SAP calendar for March 20th with a total $3,000 good bond. 12 is reset further notice with a total $9,000 SOB through the jail. 13 is going to the SAP calendar for March 20th with a total $3,000 cash bond. 14 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $500 good bond. I'm not sure what date. I know there were 2 that are going on the add-on for the 11th. Can someone clue me in on 14, which SAP calendar? I have it written somewhere, but if you can help me out right quick. Judge, how about you? I'll go back and look through, but we know it's going to the SAP calendar, okay?
And then it's going on the regular calendar.
Okay, it's going to the regular calendar. And then for the add-on, it's being reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. Now, that last case that we just did, Ms. Champion is taking the plea on that, so you all have all the details on that. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise?
Ms. Holly, I got a question. You said it was an add-on for another charge for criminal trespass for position number 2?
Yes, there are 3 charges.
Okay.
No, that was position number 1. There are 2 criminal trespass and then a loitering charge, making it a total of a $3,000 SOB through the jail.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any others?
All right, if not, thank everybody.
Thank
We'll see you
you.
next time.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
This is Miss Lewis. Will you be coming in on Tuesday?
Nah.
Talking to me?
Yeah, that's you. Are you be coming in on
Oh.
Tuesday?
I'll let you know. Probably so. Am I with you?
Yes, you with me.
Okay, yeah, I'll come in on Tuesday.
I just need to know because Michael's not here, so I got to send out the schedule for all the,
Okay.
I gotta
I'll
do
be-
the legwork here.
Okay, I think I am gonna come in on Tuesday. I haven't seen you in a while, so.
Okay.
All
right.
right.
Okay.
Thanks. All right.
Bye-bye.